What's the one thing that separates a pro Fortnite player from an average player? You might think it's game sense, aim, or mechanics, or maybe even a combination of it all. But here's the harsh truth. Every one of these skills takes thousands of hours to learn, and since pro players just have more free time to play the game, they're gonna keep improving faster than you. Or at least, that's what I thought, until I realized just how wrong I was. Because each one of these skills have something in common. All of them are completely useless, unless you have good movement. But you might be thinking, doesn't everyone move the same way in Fortnite? Well, you'd be right if you thought this before Chapter 6, because Fortnite just dropped an entirely new movement system on December 6th. Not even Tier 1 pros have these new mechanics figured out yet, because everyone's busy complaining about how the new animations look, instead of spending that time to actually learn how to use these game-changing mechanics. They just added wall jumps, wall runs, super jumps, and some hidden mechanics that no one's even talking about yet. And if you combine them all together, you can do things that were not even close to being possible before. Going up to the 5th layer in 3.71 seconds is outrageous. So while everyone else is focused on perfecting their aim and building mechanics, I'm gonna spend the next 7 days mastering this brand new movement system so I can finally stop losing to newborn babies in a children's game. However, a challenge isn't a challenge without a goal. So not only will I learn several brand new mechanics, but I also have to win a ranked game using one of these moves that I learned in the same week. And this won't be easy, especially since last week I only managed to get a single win. Day 1 of the challenge was originally dedicated to only learning the basics of the new movement, but it ended up being a lot more than that. I came across this video on YouTube from a guy called Kova, and in this video he went way more in depth with the new movement than I honestly could have ever imagined. Before watching this tutorial, I thought the only mechanics you could do on the side of a wall were wall jumps and wall climbs, but he somehow figured out how to jump cancel, dash cancel, and bad cancel, which would all end up being super useful, not just for build moves, but they allow you to pull your gun out faster than if you were to just let the animation continue. And of course, the ability to shoot earlier in a reaction-based shooting game is very useful. After learning a couple new mechanics, the first build move he showed off was this sprint jump wall climb dash cancel shot, which didn't end up taking too long to get consistent. However, while I was learning this move, I sometimes accidentally peeked my head over the second wall, and for a second, I felt like the thinker. So I discovered that you could do this crazy jump peek over 2 walls, and anyone you pull this move on is not gonna expect it. But move 1 was really just some light work compared to move 2, because move 1 can be replaced with just a regular walk around the wall. But you cannot do what move 2 does without doing move 2. You can get up to the 5th layer in 3.7 seconds while being fully protected from the front and side angle. And the best part is that it's super easy. My friend doesn't even have 100 total hours in the game, and he still got it on the 3rd try. So once a pro learns how to pull this off, it's over for everybody. I became decently consistent with both of those moves, so I hopped into some unranked Fortnite reload to try and pull off some of my newly learned skills. Now you might be wondering why I didn't take the time to learn all the moves before jumping into a game, but I have 2 good reasons for you. First, it's way better to be consistently good at a couple moves than to be inconsistent with multiple, especially when the moves get harder and harder to a point where it would be borderline impossible for me to learn all of them in just 1 day. That's why I spent nearly 2 hours perfecting just these 2. And the second reason is that spending 2 hours learning moves in Fortnite is boring as hell, and if I get burnt out on the first day, the next 6 days are gonna be rough. Throughout the couple games we played, I was really struggling to find an opportunity to use the new moves, even though I was thinking about them the entire time. So unfortunately, day 1 was a bit of a failure, but that was all gonna change on day 2. I started off day 2 with practicing the same 2 moves, and everything just clicked in my brain. You can see in this clip that I accidentally do a dash cancel instead of a jump cancel, and I still get up to the 5th layer with no effort. Feeling confident enough to try this in a real game, I hopped into some unranked reload where I would find bots and bad players to try these moves on. Unfortunately, my first attempt at using one of these new moves did not go very well. I tried this jump peek that I learned earlier in this video because it was the easiest move I learned, and all you really need to do is hold W and jump twice. However, it was here that I discovered that my timing needed to be extremely precise for this to possibly work. And even after getting the timing perfect on the second attempt, the bot walked way too close to me and I ended up shotgunning my own wall. So if I try this move again, it would definitely have to be against someone further away, or better yet, someone on a higher layer. Later in the game, I spotted another bot to try this move on, but again, I did a bad cancel, and on my second attempt, I made another mistake that would end up changing the entire rest of the challenge. Earlier, I was talking about jump cancels, but one thing you'll never want to cancel is your ExitLag subscription. I've made multiple unsponsored videos about ExitLag when my channel was smaller because it's by far the most reliable software for reducing ping and packet loss. It works by rerouting your connection through over 1,000 servers across 5 continents and scans for the best routes for data packets in real time to help you get the lowest possible ping no matter where you live. And now is the perfect time to give it a try because you can get yourself a free trial with no credit card information. So head over to the link in the description or type in exitl.ag/lectron. Then click on Get ExitLag at the top right and scroll down. Click on Create an account and create your account with your name, email, and password. You can skip step 3 because it only needs your credit card information if you end up buying it, but if you just want the free trial, then click on your name at the top right and in that drop down menu, click on Download. Then click on Download ExitLag, and once you have it installed, it should look just like this. So scroll down a little bit and press on Optimize Game, select the game you want to optimize your connection for, and apply routes for the lowest possible latency. Anyways, let's get right back into the video. If you try to do a jump cancel without holding down the W key, it causes this strange backward jump. This can also happen if you're looking too far up or down. Then on my second attempt, I accidentally mantled over the wall. At first, you might assume it happened because I was spamming the jump key, or maybe it was due to the wall being halfway into the ground. However, I've spent more than enough time learning not to spam my spacebar. So what exactly caused this mistake? Well, it's actually because of the new update, as Fortnite secretly changed how mantling works in Chapter 6. If you go into your game settings, you'll see a setting that allows you to choose what triggers a mantle, whether it be by jumping or walking forward. But with the new update, Fortnite completely ignores this in certain cases. When you do the wall climb jump cancel, the game alternates between triggering mantles with the spacebar and the W key. And because you need to hold the W key to jump cancel, this leads to an unintentional mantle. I still have no idea why this is the case, but for now, it's enough to stop me from trying this specific move. But I still had 2 moves I wanted to go for today and even more moves to learn over the next 6 days. With my first game of the day off to a rough start, I didn't expect to pull off any of my new moves, but just when I thought I was out of good opportunities, I spotted yet another bot and managed to hit the cleanest dash cancel. Oh, I got a bot. Hey, that's my first time using it properly. Let's go. I didn't think I would ever be this excited to kill a bot until now. I felt like Neil Armstrong, but instead of making the first step on the moon, I'm clipping bots in Fortnite. Since game 1 went so smooth, I thought it would be a good idea to hop straight into ranked and try to kill someone at my skill level. And there it was. I pulled off some of these wall jump 90s, instantly took height, and put some shells in his dome. Wait, I actually used the build move. I did it. I'd love to act like the rest of my first ranked game of the day went smooth the whole way through, but this guy with the Christmas skin was my biggest op. He eliminated me not once, but twice, robbing me of both of my reboots, meaning that if I died one more time, I would be completely out of the game. And once he pre-fired this open edit I made, I thought he was about to eliminate me for good. But after so much practice with movement, I wasn't gonna let him kill me that easy, even if he had me full boxed with only 4 builds left. I assumed he was gonna do a peanut butter edit to finish the job, but he pulled off this top row edit, which still ended up working in my favor as I very luckily dodged the pump shot. With only 3 shotgun shells left, I cracked his shield, hit him for 40, and flicked to his feet. If that's not enough to prove that movement is just as important as mechanics and aim, I don't know what is. However, I'm still down 2-1, so if I want this guy out of the game, I'll need to kill him 2 more times. So when he came back for the loot, I did to him what he did to me, and I hit him with the nastiest jump shot. And suddenly, I felt unstoppable, so after my next rotation, I immediately pushed the next closest person, and of course, I came out on top. But guess who ended up at the bottom? You guessed it. On the other side of the map, Mr. Christmas did a very risky play and got third party. With only 6 players remaining, the victory royale was just within reach until I went up against one of the most dangerous players in the lobby. After trying to chase him, he was able to get some serious damage on me. But again, I managed to move unpredictably enough to hit yet another jump shot, putting myself in a top 5 situation. During the second last circle of the game, I tried to conserve mats, but I paid the price and got beamed, so all I could do now was stall until the final 1v1, against the guy who killed my biggest op. GG! Let's go! And if you thought the momentum stopped there, you would be right, because I'm still freaking terrible at this game. After ending day 2 on a bad note, I've never felt more determined in my life to improve in this game, and it ended up being the most productive day in the entire video. No. Break away, break away. Let's go! But seriously though, this day was the most productive day in the challenge because my friend and I won 4 games in a row, and not only that, but I was really putting all these moves together to catch my opponents off guard. Oh my god! Oh! Let's go, I did it in a 1v1. And as long as P. Diddy doesn't get into my game, my win streak will remain untouched. You know what? Maybe I don't need the 5-win streak anymore. I actually got so good with the new movement that even if I made a mistake, I somehow made it work out anyways. Although I was improving with these mechanics way quicker than I initially thought I would, there was one big problem that I noticed way too far into the challenge. Creating opportunities to use these build moves in the first place was the real challenge. Think of these moves as freestyle mechanics in Rocket League. When cross-map air dribbles and flip resets were first discovered, they weren't immediately part of the meta, not only because they were impossible to do, but because the setup was predictable and easy to block, and for years they were mainly used for flashy clips rather than outplaying defenders. Fast forward to today, and your average platinum player is hitting flip resets in ranked. So now the question is, how do we turn these Fortnite mechanics into something that could actually be part of the meta? Apart from just being faster, learning more moves can really help create more in-game opportunities, because only knowing 2 moves for 2 different situations is not very useful when it comes to fighting actual players. And with only 3 moves left in the video, I might as well learn them all today so that I'd have the last 4 days to perfect them and ultimately win a ranked game using one of these brand new mechanics. The third move he teaches in the video is this Thwifo cone jump to the side, wall run, jump cancel, wall jump shot, which sounds super complicated, but within like 10 minutes I got it down pretty good. And then within like 15 minutes I couldn't stop hitting it. It's too easy. And if you thought I was gonna keep getting harder, you're half right, but because I had the basics perfected at this point, the moves just kept getting easier, and learning the 4th move was also light work. Out of every move in the video, this was the one that I felt most comfortable with, as it is very easy to full box your opponent using it, so if there's one move that I'm gonna win a ranked game with, it had to be this one. And finally, the 5th move. Though this was easily the most difficult one in the video, it took me only about 5 minutes to get it. So now that I have all these moves down, you would think that my gameplay would have instantly improved, and it definitely did, but not in the way that you might expect. But that's not to say that I wasn't also hitting clips with a new movement though. At this point, I realized that I made the most progress with these mechanics when I just practiced all day and did 1v1s, and it sounds just about as boring as it was. But sacrificing my sanity and mental health was absolutely worth it when you see how I started to play on day 7, where I not only show my massive improvements in every aspect of my game, but I also accomplished the ultimate goal of the challenge, winning a ranked game by using one of these mechanics. Throughout the first 6 days of this challenge, I picked up quite a few things that weren't covered in the video I watched. If you remember from earlier in the video, I kept accidentally peeking my head over the wall on the first move, and it was only today that I figured out that it wasn't because I was pressing the wrong keys. It turns out that if you look too far to the left and then dash cancel to the right, they cancel each other out and cause a jump cancel instead. And by day 5, I had fixed this problem with better crosshair placement, which not only stopped the mistake, but allowed me to chain all 5 moves together in one line. And it was at this moment that I became so consistent with these moves that the only thing holding me back now is the actual building mechanics. And because the actual building mechanics were holding me back as well, I spent a couple hours on day 6 working on some normal builds alongside my new moves to prepare myself for day 7, where I would be attempting to finally complete the challenge. At last, it is the final day of the challenge, and today was the day where I would finally see just how much I improved over the past week. To be fair, I didn't have a warm-up, so let's not get too caught up in that death. Surely it won't happen again.
Sing, 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 sing.
You thought I was gonna die, didn't you? Haha, not this time. I'm not even trolling, I might just be the worst player to ever touch this game. Oh, I just killed. Clearly, it wasn't going well, and if I wanted to complete this impossible challenge, something had to change, so I got myself a duo. And unfortunately, the only person who was willing to team up with my dumbass was my silver friend from Europe, because none of my other friends wanted to hop on. Now, usually, I'm supposed to carry the team in Unreal duos, but since I couldn't play like my usual self today, you could probably guess how that went. Oh, okay. 100.
Please, man.
I just got sniped
Please.
again, what?
I'm
And so I had to change things up again and hop on my lower ranked account. And you would assume that it would be a lot easier, but somehow it wasn't. Now you might have noticed that there has been one common factor between every strategy I came up with to complete this challenge, and that common factor was me. No matter what game mode I picked or what account I switched to, none of it could compensate for the fact that I was the one holding myself back. Normally, I'd just take a break for a couple hours to recoup, but the problem is I've only got 2 hours until midnight, and if I can't find a way to change my approach, this challenge is about to end up as one big failure. And up until this point, that was what it was looking like, but after getting second place to a Lara Croft skin, I knew that it was time to lock the f in.
Oh, got his ass. On you? Dead? What? Okay, dead now.
Once I got this kill on the second last player standing, all we needed to do was kill one more player to win the game. But winning was not enough for the challenge because I need to kill the last player using a movement mechanic. My teammate and I both knew this, but I was too caught up in getting the perfect setup that I not only allowed the last guy to revive his knocked teammate, but I also got my teammate killed and threw the game in the most depressing way.
I accidentally went on the... Oh my god, I accidentally launch padded. No way, I sold the game again.
Mine.
It was now 11 PM or 5 AM for my European friend, so we have one last game before he has to go to sleep, and if I sell yet another game, I will not only have to finish the job by myself, but do it all in under 1 hour, so I can't afford to lose.
What? This tack hits like a fucking piece of paper.
With less than 60 minutes left, you would think that I'd feel the need to lock in, but I kept dying to players worse than me over and over again. The clock was ticking, my frustration was building, and it felt like everything was slipping away. But then, something clicked. In the very last game of the night, my movements felt sharper, my decisions smarter, and I was finally locked in. Every mistake I'd made throughout the week finally led to this moment. I spotted the very last player, so without doing anything too flashy, I had finally done it. This may not have been the clip that I wanted or the way I would have wanted this challenge to end, but as the final opponent fell, I had done it. I won the game, using one of the new moves. With barely any time left on the clock, the challenge was complete. However, I said all of this only to distract you from the undeniable truth. There is no skill in this game that can truly be mastered in just 1 week. Sure, I became consistent with these moves while free building or in 1v1s, but translating that consistency into actual games was a completely different story. This challenge wasn't about mastery, it was about pushing boundaries, failing, learning, and refusing to give up. But if you enjoyed this video and want to see me switch to simple edit for 7 days, watch this video next.